Alright guys, welcome back. These are my tips. I would like to give tips, the things I wish I knew before playing the First Descendant. Um, my my next on creator code is down below. Zaylord7573. So go ahead and make sure you can support this channel. Thank you. That'll be much appreciated. Alright, so the first thing as a beginner, uh, some things I wish I knew as a beginner. Um, was Bunny. So who is Bunny? So later in the game, you're gonna have three characters you choose from, and these three characters are between Viesa, Ajax, and Lepic. Um, it won't matter who you choose, because well, yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. If you like them for what they are, that's great. But later on down the road, they're going to give you enough mats to summon Bunny. This girl here is they won't tell you early, but for sure she's like S tier. She's like the first S tier descendant they give you, and you don't know it's S tier because you're still learning the game, right? So you don't know yet, like, what is S tier? Like, shouldn't we swipe for an S tier class anyways? They actually give you a class that's actually S tier. Now, in which the grade I gave it is where this character is extremely powerful and versatile in many scenarios, that this person could actually carry all your needs in farming and mod collecting and any sources you can get as early as possible. So in other words, invest in her when you get her. You will not regret that afterwards, because you'll see why you'll see why she's S tier later on down the road. She will feed you. So that's my number one tip. Uh, uh, my number one tip when you first start in the game, when you bump into Bunny, if you ever bump into her, you will eventually bump into her because you're gonna make her when you go down your main story quest. Give her a shot. Go ahead and switch up, and that's totally okay. Now, my second tip number two, would be to invest in HP related items. In this case, your HP will be coming off from the right side over here. These are the accessories. I call these accessories, but the game calls it external components. So while you are playing the game, try your best to go ahead and locate like stats that are always max HP on that side. So whatever you're fighting, you're gonna put it on, but whatever you're grinding and fighting, make sure that's always you always put in some max HP there. This is extremely advantageous in my opinion, because just like Elden Ring or any game that you first start off with, a boss can actually two-shot you down the road. Like in the beginning, the game is friendly. You'll actually breeze through the entire content, but later on down the road, depending on what class you play, you're gonna start dying. And when you start dying, through mechanics, sometimes if you survive enough to learn more, you actually get better, because you're able to get up and take another hit and see already like, yo, this guy keeps doing this one move, I better stop doing this, and so forth. You start learning and adapting fast. So so eventually having HP will give you that ability to recover and actually beat the game a lot faster, because there will be times where you need to learn mechanics, and oftentimes it's too late. If you don't have enough HP, you'll be dead because you didn't invest in it. You were investing in other things. So that's my tip. That's tip number two. Invest into HP accessories and mods. I'm sorry, that's the accessory part. The mods, if you look under Descendant modules, the most easiest one to get that you might get early is called increase HP. So go ahead and use this, as this becomes a multiplier on top of the base HP you get from here. So this is base HP right here, and then that mod there is a multiplier, so it adds on to it. So this is a beautiful thing to have, because like I said, you're gonna end up dying a lot eventually later down the road if it gets too difficult. So that's again things that I wish that I knew. I wish I knew when I started playing the game. All right, number three. Now we're moving on to number three. Prioritize your main story quests. Now, Now there are so many temptations because the guides will lead you to go to different routes. Now you by all means you could go to these routes, but don't get too caught up into these routes. So they introduce you to defense missions, and grinding weapons and form and catalysts and other things. They introduce you to creating stuff. Don't get too carried away in them. Just go back. Just know that they introduced it to you. Understand a little bit of it, or you could just skip everything and just finish the main story quest. The whole bottom line is to, just like every other game, that every other MMO, you want to beat the main story quest because it's kind of like a tutorial for the actual game to open up to you. In this case scenario specifically, it you want to push to level 100 items because you don't want to keep on replacing them over and over again and investing into the same item over and over again. Don't waste your mats on that. So save your mats and try to beat the game as soon as you can. Um, and when you do beat the game, you will get to this part where you enter hard mode and items there are all flat rate level 100, and that's where you want to be at. Now, speaking of weapons and gear, that's the next topic. We're moving on to number 4. Number 4, I'll introduce you. I'll introduce to you, in my opinion, anecdotally speaking, I think this is by far the most easiest and friendliest weapon to use in the entire game. Um, because it has loads of ammunition, and each attack, each bullet is pretty powerful, above average. So it's this is called the Tamer gun. If you ever get your hands on a Tamer, um, and you're still starting off playing, let's say that you don't really have your class, you're not very good with your class right now, and you're not killing stuff fast enough. T- if you ever pick this up, if you ever find this weapon, invest in it. Go ahead and put there's a weapon level up system where if the weapon is too low level, if you ever have a Tamer, like let's say you found your Tamer at level 30, and then later on down the road you're already at level 60, and all the items there are stronger than Tamer, get those items and readapt it into the level up your Tamer and readapt it to it to become the next, like you can absorb into it. They talk about weapon leveling enhancement systems here, so you're pretty much gonna like sacrifice that high level weapon to become the Tamer's new level current, to keep it relevant. So I would suggest this, and this you'll see why. Like if all the weapons are great, and for what it is, if you love sniping and whatever, that's great. But I think for close range, mid range, and almost all purposes, I think the Tamer covers more of those check boxes than most of the weapons, in my opinion. Okay, so that's number 4, the Tamer. So if you ever grab the Tamer, go ahead and grab it. It's a early end game weapon that you can invest in, and actually, as you can see right here, I actually have 5 of it, of each element, but I'm not gonna get into that. But you could already tell how strong the item is as it starts off in the beginning. It's still very decent, extremely decent towards the end, and I still use it. Okay, that is number 4. Number 5, and the final tip. This is my final tip for things I wish I knew. Would be the access info guide. So, as you are playing through the game, you're chugging along through story quest mode. They will tell you about pressing G and the access info right here. Now, this is going to be your favorite page, whether you like it or not. This will be your handbook, your study guide, your Bible, whatever you call it. This will be your Google. And it's actually better than Google because for the most part, it will provide you hyperlinks into the game and tell you exactly where those items and mobs can be found. So here's an example. If you are curious to see what kind of mods and skills, like exclusive skills, are available for your character, you type your character's name. My favorite character's name is Jaber, so I'm going to type out Jaber. Now it's all highlighted. That means I already found all of these. But if you are starting off playing, you are going to see like kind of like a transparent version, meaning you still need to find it. And so these will be the available exclusive mods for your character. Exclusive mods provide a different playstyle that will change your character's abilities. It will modify them in a way that will change the playstyle for a different take. So this is freaking cool because a lot of people will, again, some of it is OP, some of it is niche like utility, but this becomes really fascinating. Now this is just an example. Now if you want to go specific, if you go on top of it, it'll tell you right now, if you're on keyboard and mouse, it'll tell you pressing F for acquisition info, or U to track it. I would don't go tracking because you're limited to tracking only 3 items, so be careful what you track because you might get lost trying to untrack it, if that makes any sense. So because I went to that same issue. So but here's the main thing is to press acquisition info on it. Wait, sorry, don't you can't press F yet. You have to click on it and then press F. There you go. Now this is the info to tell you that where it's at pretty much. Again, it says complete. If it says to complete, it's a reward item. If it says monster, it's a monster within that region. And this is so cool because, like I said, unlike Google, when you click on it, it already opens up and marks it on your map where it's located, and even tells you the percentages in which it drops. So when you get used to this system and start understanding it, you will by navigating through this complex system, you're able to get what you want and what you need. Because here's the thing: if you do not take tip number 5 seriously, you will burn out in the game. You will end up swiping, because you will not know where to go towards the end if you don't access the info. So as much as you don't like reading and researching, this game actually kind of forces you to actually open up this entire guide here, and it kind of forces you to actually look for the stuff you want. You just can't go in and just hope that you get the stuff you need. So that is the thing. So that's about it. Those are my 5 tips of it's a beginner guide. If you are still learning or you enter into the game, you want to try out the game, take any of these 5 tips any way you like to. This is my personal tips. I don't know any other guides out there. People might have a different take, and I like it. I like that I did not look up any other players' guides because I don't want to kind of bar off them. Because this is fresh, right? So this is a lot of these things are debatable. So it's still new in a way, but like yeah, this is awesome. And yeah, I'll see you next time.